Hello, everybody. This is Jerry DeMeo from the Tom and Jerry Real Estate Show, and I'm live here in Red Bank, New Jersey, with my friend and colleague and partner, Tom McNeil. Say hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Excellent, excellent. We got that down.
Yes, sir.
And Tom, so we have some very special guests today, correct?
We do, Jerry.
Do you think we're ready to bring them on yet, or no, Tom?
Jerry, in talking to them before, what are you doing?
I'm just having a piece of cheese. Everybody will get to it later. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
A piece of cheese.
Well, I'm a mouse.
I was going to say,
I'm a mouse. It's Tom and Jerry
Tom
show.
and Jerry, I get it.
Okay.
I think we should bring them on, Jerry.
You're going to bring them on. And they're with Clean World Solutions.
CWS.
CWS. It's a mold remediation company and testing company. And listen, and they're here today to help us out because honestly, I've been eating mold for years and I have no idea what's good or not bad. And I really have no idea. So Gina and Joe are going to hang on. I'm going to bring Gina and Joe in and Gina. Oh, I see Joe, but I don't see Gina.
She's pretty in pink, I think.
Pink. That is, Gina, I have to tell you, and sorry, Joe, but I have to tell you, that is the prettiest gas mask or respirator that I've ever.
I don't disagree with you, Jerry.
That I ever seen. Well, thanks, Joe. So, listen, tell us, does it really need to be? Is mold really this bad?
Well, mold comes in all shapes and sizes, and a lot of it is good for us. It allows us to have blue cheese, like you're enjoying right there on your salad, on your wedge salad with a little bacon.
Yeah.
But there are types of mold that are involved in water damages inside of structures, in and on building materials that I don't like to use the word dangerous, but they're of concern. There are certain groups of the population that are susceptible to mold exposure. Elderly people, infants, toddlers, people with compromised immune systems already, and pregnant women. Those groups of people, there's really not, permissible exposure levels for any kind of mold. If there's mold around, you want to get it away from them.
Those are actually, you named all the people that really matter, like the middle-aged men really.
I'll take middle.
The middle-aged men really don't matter that much, but everybody else we care about. So. Okay, hey, Gina, how long is there mold?
I can't.
Oh, Gina, there we go.
You don't want to have to wear this anywhere. It's not very comfortable. But that's just to show you, it can be serious. It might not be serious, but you have to call a professional to find out because you really don't want to have one of your real estate closings held up because you get to the point of home inspection. The home inspector sees something, mold. Well, you don't know if you have it or not. So give us a call before that point, and we can help you navigate through it. And we'll answer some questions today to let you know when mold is serious, what you can do about it, what you can do to prevent it.
Well, listen, even before the home inspection, Tom showed houses every day. I don't really show houses that much anymore, at all anymore. So, Tom, a buyer walks into a house. They see a little something on the wall. They smell a little must, and what's the first thing they say, Tom?
Mold.
They go.
There's mold.
There's mold. And they went out and saw 4 houses that day, and that may be the one they like the most, but they crossed it off because they got kids and elderlies and all that stuff, and they're sure there's mold, right?
Right.
100% sure.
100% sure. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to ask you because I don't really know. Okay, this is an excellent question. I'm going to jump. I'm going to get to it in 1 second. This is an excellent question. Let's talk about some of the tips, Joe. Give me, what do you think? 4 tips?
I think we could throw it down to 4 if we wanted to. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go do some 4 basic tips here. 4 basic tips. Tip number 1.
Whether it's a business or a home, commercial space or a residential space, just regular inspection of the areas in your home of the greatest concern: plumbing, anywhere you have toilets, sinks, appliances that may potentially cause leaks. Because at the end of the day, mold all comes down to water. So yeah, regular inspection of those areas.
So we want to watch for water. We want to watch for water. Like
if you end up having any water, if you have any leaks, and there's water pouring out of places where there shouldn't be,
right.
sure you address it quickly. You want to stop, get up as much of the bulk water as possible. If you have some fans at that point, you want to try to dry the area up as much as possible. If it seems like the material's staying wet at that point, you want to call a professional because it can't stay wet.
So that was really number 2 there. We're talking about prompt attention to any water damage. And listen, I'm pretending I'm coming up with this, Tom, but I got this information from them before the show.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Joe, how old are you?
37.
Well, when you get to be my age, you'll know about prompt attention to water issues.
Tom, that's funny, Tom.
Hope not.
So prompt attention to any water issues.
Yes,
So listen, this sounds like a simple one, but listen, this is really for life in general. But go ahead, help me out. What's the third one here?
Believe it or not, regular cleaning procedures in your house with your cleaning detergents and your towel, wiping things down, vacuuming, goes a long way towards removing the organic matter that mold actually uses as a food source. So without food and water, mold cannot grow. So if you take the food away through regular cleaning procedures, you're left with water. And if you're, giving prompt attention to water leaks, then you're taking the water away too, and you're really drastically cutting down the risk of having any mold.
So we're talking about prevent. We don't want to listen. We're not just like selling a service today, and I want to be clear. That's not what we do. We want to give people. We're always giving people information. That's really what our always goal is. And if you give people education and information, it ends up it's good for business, and that's how we treat this. I'm going to give the last one, and I'm going to say I never corrected the typo here. This is not a greater than sign, everybody. This is a less than sign. So I'm being very clear. And listen, I got some great questions coming in, so I wanted to cover this. What's this? Listen, I had to Google it. So what does RH mean, guys?
It's relative humidity. It's the
relative humidity.
It's humidity is water vapor in the air. It's all around us at all times. If it wasn't there, we wouldn't be alive. It's the amount of moisture in the air relative to the temperature. So as the temperature goes up, sometimes relative humidity can go up or down depending on the conditions. But you want to maintain less than 60 to 65% relative humidity in an indoor space. Otherwise, there's enough water activity to promote mold.
And most oftentimes you'll see that in your basement. You want to set up a dehumidifier in your basement, keep the moisture content low, and then you'll prevent some of the problems that you could possibly have.
Super. All right. So listen, I got some questions. Listen, this question is from a gentleman by the name of Jeff, and Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Thanks for joining us today, Jeff travels the world. Literally travels the world speaking to realtors. Okay. So, and he's asking this question. He needs to know. So if we want to get our information out to the world, this is the person to answer. So his question is, if we have a damp basement and if it feels damp, is there an over-the-counter test to see if mold is present before they call you? What's the answer to that?
I have two answers to that question. One, addressing the dampness of the basement and the feeling that it might be damp. The easiest way is to go to Home Depot and get a thermal hygrometer, which tells you the relative humidity and the temperature. And that'll answer your question as to how wet it actually is. And that'll give you an indication as to how serious the moisture intrusion could actually be or where it's coming from. Additionally, the over-the-counter test, yes, there are an old school petri dish that you'd think of Louis Pasteur, who we talked about before, using to grow penicillin. You can buy one of those in your local big box stores or home improvement stores. You open it up, you set it in the space that you're curious about, close it up, and you send it to a lab. Quality control is not really there, to say the least. It's not as definitive. It's not as qualitative or quantitative a test that you're going to get as that we would conduct or another professional indoor air quality consultant would conduct.
We have a machine that we use that actually will pull air in to a cassette, and then we send it off to the lab, and they're the ones that scrutinize that and see actually what's in there. So there's air samples and there's surface samples, and then the thing that Joe was talking about, the hygrometer, that you can buy at a big box store. It's just a digital little thing that tells you the temperature and it tells you your humidity. It's really not that fancy of the name of it that he said. but you could get it for like $10 at Home Depot. All you want to do, you want to know what your temperature is, and you want to know how much moisture is there. Real simple.
Oh, well, okay. I have another question from Jeff, and it's funny. You know, we spoke about this earlier today, and before the show, in the green room.
Yes.
Right. We were in the green room when we were going over this, and it's a common question. I've always thought you just throw a little bleach on it and whoop, we're solved, right?
Right?
The answer to that question is yes, it does. But if
not effectively, completely.
Actually, mold does kill bleach. I'm sorry, you got me. Bleach does kill mold. The problem is that when you're doing a proper mold remediation, the goal isn't always to kill everything, because when you kill mold has built-in self-defense mechanisms that release things called mycotoxins and cytotoxins that can be as dangerous as the mold, if not more. So you want to capture the mold. So we use air filtration devices to capture mold in the air. We use HEPA vacuums and wet wiping to capture mold on surfaces. So killing is great, but it's not always the best approach. So capture is better. And that's why we stay away from bleach under most circumstances, but it can be an effective tool. The answer to your question is yes, it does kill mold.
So bleach does kill mold.
Yes.
Okay. So
kills a lot of things. That's the problem.
Right.
It could kill parts of you that you don't want killed. You know what I mean? If you're using it improperly.
It's just a really harsh tool. It's a really harsh tool. So there's other things that can be done that'll be just as effective, and it won't be as harsh in your home. You're not breathing it in. You're not putting it on all your surfaces. Example, we just finished up a job at a church, and, you know, I first walked in there with the woman, and I was looking for this. I didn't want to be down there, because as soon as I went down there, I could smell it. It was very heavy air. And when you looked around the different rooms, you could see it everywhere. Joe and I were just there yesterday just to pick up one last piece of equipment, and it was gorgeous. There was no smell left. You can breathe easy. All the surfaces were clean. It was really, really great. And it's because of the way that it was cleaned that we were able to just get right in there quickly. And there's a process that's done. It's not just you come in, you take a test, you know, you throw some bleach on and you do all that. It is a process. There are machines that are running. They're cleaning the air for you. They're taking everything out of the air, and then you're doing more tests to make sure that everything's cleared out and it's safe for people to go. This particular one they want to use for children to go down there and to use it, you know, as a music room and things like that. So we're really confident in the job that we did on that.
Oh, so I'm listening. I'm going to keep. I have a number of questions coming up.
Okay.
So what about black mold? How bad is it, and what are the best ways to get rid of it? So I'm going to let you answer questions. Sorry, listen, not a lot for Tom and I to say today.
Well, we'll try to pull our weight here, Jerry. First part of the question first. What about black mold? How bad is it? As I said before, when people talk about black mold, or if you Google black mold, they're referring to what's called Stachybotrys. It's a pathogenic mold, so it's known to cause different allergic reactions in otherwise healthy people. You can have headaches, you can have respiratory issues, things like that. Even go, you know, I don't want to get too crazy, but the process for getting rid of it is the same as getting rid of any other mold. It doesn't matter what kind of mold there is. If you see mold inside your space, it's definitely time to call a professional to get rid of it, because once it's visible, it's had some time to get that way. So it's been there before you knew it was there, and now it's time to get it cleaned up. The process involves HEPA vacuuming. So we actually use vacuums that have HEPA filters inside. They filter very, very, very small particulate, smaller than mold, and air scrubbers as well. So we're cleaning with vacuums. We're scrubbing the air with HEPA filtration devices, air scrubbers. That's the process: air cleaning and surface cleaning. Two broad strokes.
All right. Ryan, I hope that answered your question. And listen, I have another superstar realtor from around the world. Okay, he's actually does luxury real estate in Miami, Florida. His name is
The
Nick.
paddleboarding realtor.
Say, Nick.
Hey, Nick, thanks for joining us today. And listen, listen, first of all, I didn't even know, listen, I figured in Miami, they don't have any mold. I figure, I didn't,
A lot of other things.
right, I didn't think they had any mold. Really, I thought really it was only an issue with houses that have basements. Is that accurate or no? Or no?
No, you don't need a basement to have mold because, again, the building blocks of mold are food and water. So Miami,
if you have food and water, you could have mold. You could have mold. Why might maybe you may tell me I'm wrong, why might an older property, something, that's 100 years old, be more susceptible to have mold than a newer property? I might know the answer, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway.
Well, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, and I'll give you the answer from my side of the desk first, which is that building science has come a long way in the last 100 years. Miami is in Florida, and Florida is humid. So when you combine that much humidity with maybe some inferior building practices that, like I said, they've come a long way. There's a lot of new ways to prevent moisture migration. There's a lot of ways to prevent humidity from actually affecting indoor building materials. So that's more than likely the reason that the older properties are the ones that are showing up with mold.
Listen, I think of it when I go to when I go to the Dominican Republic or something like that, and you go into the hotel rooms. Nick, help me out here. You go to the hotel rooms, and you ever notice that musty smell at those beach properties? You feel like everything's wet when you walk in the house, walk in the room, and all that, and you get that smell, and that's what I think of. You agree?
Well, part of the
Sure.
if I can jump in there, we love warm destinations for a vacation just as much as the next person. And
right.
I know what smell you're talking about. A lot of that has to do with condensation. So you have somebody running the air conditioner, and they have their beautiful big patio door open at the same time. So you have that warm, humid air from outside. You have
right.
the cold surfaces inside, right next to the air conditioning unit, and you got the dew point and condensation, and that equals the conditions for mold growth right there. Absolutely.
So So how about mildew in carpets? Do we have mold growth? Is that like when you say mildew, like mold and mildew? Is that all the same thing? Like am I eating mold or mildew here? I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Tom.
No thanks.
You don't want cheese?
Moldy.
Moldy. He doesn't want the
I'm a
moldy cheese.
cat.
He's the cat. My fault. All right, please answer that. Please follow. Sorry.
No problem. Carpets absolutely are one of the hardest places to clean. Even if you have one of those big fancy $500 vacuums, you're not getting all of the dust. You're not getting all of the stuff that accumulates underneath the carpet and the pad in your house or in your business. It's just impossible without ripping it up and cleaning underneath it. Nobody's going to do that. So there's well beyond enough organic matter in your carpet and under your carpet to support mold growth if you get water. So if you introduce water into that environment through either humidity or a spill or a pipe leak or something that's not addressed and dried in a very timely manner, yes, absolutely, you get mold in carpet all the time.
Joe, question. You talk about food. Sheetrock, is that a great feeding ground for mold?
Sheetrock is one of the best. So sheetrock is what you call a cellulose-based building material. Cellulose is absolute buffet for mold. It's just, if you have water in sheetrock, especially newer sheetrock, older sheetrock, I know our friend Nick there said the older sheetrock absorbs the moisture from the open windows in Miami down there. My experience has been that up here, different building materials are used around the country. So regionally, this could vary a lot. But older sheetrock, older drywall, or older gypsum has held up a lot better in preventing mold growth or staving off mold growth under the conditions for it better than new sheetrock. I think newer building materials in our region at least are not as hardy when it comes to resisting mold growth. New sheetrock is just, you get mold almost instantly.
Sure.
Yeah, Nick is saying in Florida that for single-family homes without impact classes, they usually use the dehumidifiers down there from June through October to try to keep mold away. So, and I don't think Nick probably sells any properties with basements down there. So my always thought process that we talked about this earlier. Mold grows, likes the dark, it likes the damp, it likes it,
Stagnant air, very
and
stagnant.
basements happen to be, and also they don't get cleaned regularly and get checked regularly like the rest of your house because, listen, I don't like to go down in my basement. I don't like to go down there. And
we had a client, I'll give you a quick story. We had a client who had a water event in his basement.
A water event. Hold on. I love that. I love that.
Water event. You got the Grateful Dead are playing there.
Yeah.
A water event.
Water event. An appliance leaked. It pooled. It sat and sat and sat and sat, and it started growing molds on the walls. Inside the walls, out, you could see it. He cut it out. He thought, all right, this is great. We're good. And then he had new air conditioners installed, and they put the handlers in the basement. So now it's taking air from the basement and spreading it throughout the house. Finally said, you know what? This could be a problem. I don't know if it's a problem. Could be a problem. I need you to come and do some tests for us. So we went over, we did some tests. We're awaiting the results to see, because now that he put that new air conditioning unit in the basement, which is not where it was before, it's pulling air, and it could be spreading it throughout the house to other areas. So it started in the basement, and now it's all over this nice 5,000 square foot house. So
the problem in that situation, other than not calling us immediately, was that he cut out what he see was a problem.
Right.
The problem is that mold is not visible unless it's really heavy and colonized and there's enough water for it to do so. It's there. It's everywhere. There are settled spores everywhere that you and I can't see. That's why we do a test, a qualitative and a quantitative air sample test or a surface sample test. A lab technician looks at it under a microscope, which is the only tool, that's effective enough to read that type of a medium, and tells you exactly what's there. How much is there, what kind is there, and then you can either write a remediation protocol yourself or have a hygienist write a protocol for you if you're going to be the remediator.
So let me ask, listen, and listen, obviously Nick has issues with mold too. I don't know a lot about it. All I hear about is problems on deals that I deal with.
Absolutely.
There's mold. Honestly, a lot of times I find out, to be honest, that 50% of the time it's nonsense.
It's not a big deal. Right.
Like it's nonsense. It's someone that really doesn't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Saying like for example, she's showing a young couple and they love the house, and then they bring, listen, here's a common thing.
An inspector.
Right. Look, they bring their mother and father into the house. Right. They bring their mother and father.
Said that. They bring in
inspectors.
Moms come.
Right. They bring their mom and dad into the house. And they go, oh, there's mold in this house. We got a mold problem here. How often do you hear that you have a mold problem here?
I have it just on a sale that we're doing right now. The farm.
Right. People think there's a mold problem all the time.
They do. And they tell the inspector it's a mold problem.
Absolutely.
Right.
So what's he say?
Right.
Sure.
And the truth is, a home inspector can't really tell you whether there's a mold problem or not. All they can do is recommend that you do further testing.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Which is why we're talking to you.
But it's alarming at that point. It's
right.
At that point, and it's alarming because you're ready to buy this house, you're getting the inspection done, and now you think you have mold, you're ready to run out the door.
The best thing to do in a situation like that to keep things cool and have things make sense is to ask why. That's the most important question, because in performing remediations, we advise all of our clients that we need to find the source of the water that led to the mold first. And if that problem can't be found or it can't be rectified, we can't guarantee that the remediation is going to remain effective.
It's going to come back.
It's going to come back. So the first question that we need to ask is, why did the mold show up here? Okay, it's wet. Great. Where did that water come from? How much of it was there? How long has it been there?
And what did you do to fix it?
What did you do to fix it? Or can we fix it? So, Every problem has
So basically, if we don't solve, tell me if you agree with me.
Okay.
Bringing you guys in to clean up a mold problem, if we haven't cleaned up the source of the mold to begin with, is useless in a lot of, like.
Well, we can work with you to help find that source. Absolutely. So we dovetail all the time with plumbers and general contractors to find out where the actual problem is. And, you know, a lot of times they find it, we find it. It's a team effort. So yeah, but going ahead with any size remediation without knowing where the water came from and stopping the water from coming in is not smart.
Size of utility.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's like working out like crazy and not changing my diet. It's not necessarily it's not really right.
I love it.
Working out like crazy.
I'm going to use that.
Write that down.
Example.
Right.
I'm going to use that example, but as I eat my cheese,
Make today your cheat day, okay?
Yeah. The problem is I have more cheat days than I don't have cheat days.
Well, I saw your grill yesterday, and that chicken looked pretty good. So,
No, thanks.
It was good. It was
oh,
good.
you had some? All right.
Yeah, half a piece.
Yeah, he ate a lot. So, well, listen. So, if people want to get in touch with you, to just come in and have a consultation, they can do that. If Tom's got a new listing and he smells a little something in the basement and he says, I don't really think this is an issue, not that Tom knows, but says, listen, why don't you bring someone in and beforehand, call Gina and Joe at Clean World Solutions. You got Clean World Solutions online. I saw you could schedule an appointment. You got an appointment scheduler on. They got
Online?
Online, they have an online appointment scheduler. So
They're like us, Jerry.
oh yeah, high tech.
Technically adept.
Yeah, high
Absolutely.
tech. So they can give. Can you guys give someone a certificate or a letter or something said that this house has been inspected and we don't see a concern from any mold or anything like that prior to putting the house on the market?
Yes. So
Absolutely.
we can perform an inspection.
Does an inspection mean they have to do a test?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
And honestly, too, when you call us, we'll ask you some questions to really see if you need us to come out.
Okay.
Some of those
So
questions,
honest,
why
too.
do you have the problem? Do you know where the source is? Did you have the proper, restoration done? If you had a water damage, did you have an actual company come in or did the handyman do it? There are questions that we can ask you before we come out to know what to expect. And then you're going to know what to expect too when we get there.
Right. Okay.
That's terrific.
That is true. I think that's terrific.
That's a great option.
Yeah. I'm so happy you guys came on with us today. You have a question?
No, I just can tell by talking to them and the way they approach their business, they understand full well that they are in a service industry just like we are, and they're looking out for people's best interests.
Yeah.
So,
Just as a side note too, Tom, not to cut you off, if you had a mold test done or if the other person in the transaction had a mold test done,
Or home
right.
copy of it, send it to us. We'll take a look at it too. And we'll interpret it our way too, because sometimes you want your own person to be able to interpret it.
Balances, right?
Yes,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
And if you mention the Tom and Jerry real estate show,
hang on, wait.
come
Go
out.
ahead. What are you saying there, Gina?
If you do mention the Tom and Jerry real estate show and we do come out, we'll take 10% off.
Oh,
Look at that.
how do you like
How
that?
do you like that? Listen. Thank you so much
You guys
for
are
joining
terrific.
us.
Thank
You were
you, guys.
terrific. We're terrific. Listen, the beautiful thing about going on Facebook and all this is here forever. Like we've had people on and come on and off, and that's just how Facebook works and all that. But it's there forever, and people, and we'll turn it into a YouTube.
We
We'll turn it into
appreciate it.
put it out there and all that. And if you ever have, listen, we want to do this again in a
Yes.
couple months. We'll come back on again. We'll go on again live and share with your friends and family and share and share
We
and
could
share.
give some examples. We could even go on location somewhere to a job where something's going on. I might have to put this back on, and it's not the most comfortable thing, but
Hey, she's
We
not
can
just
do it.
pretty. She's not just pretty.
we can make it work.
Did she get her hands dirty, Joe? Come on. Listen. Thank Thank you so much for joining us, Tom. You have anything you have anything to say?
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. Okay.
CWS.
CWS. Now. Okay. I want to know, you've watched the show before, so I want to know if you know how to say the proper goodbye. So, all right. Now you listen. This is a challenge. Wait, maybe listen. I'm going to help you out here.
Okay.
This is the Tom and Jerry Real Estate Show. Say goodbye, Tom.
Goodbye, Tom.
Okay. See if you're catching on. Listen, this is a big test, Gina. I'm
Right. Let's see
go
if
first.
I can get it.
So say goodbye, Gina.
Goodbye, Gina.
Excellent. You got it. All right. Say goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, Joe.
Goodbye, Joe. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks so much. Listen, we loved having you, and we'll have you again soon. Have a great day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.